Cut losses, they're not going to make it.
Mate, the big story is the end of the road for Rugby's Gone Soft Brigade. And this is all about the concussions. Now, I actually think this could be the end of rugby.
Right.
I genuinely think this could be the end of rugby. I kind of feel, though, that we're on the tip of the iceberg. And what I mean by that is there's a good reason why people like, let's say Keith Wood, who played for Ireland at the top level for years and years, hooker, doesn't seem to have any issues in his later life. And this might all change. Fitzpatrick, all of his generation don't seem to be having the problems that the generation of professional rugby players had. And when you read into it, it seems like Steve Thompson, who's one of the ones who's really been affected, he's 42 now. And he was one of the guys that kind of went from an amateur status to a professional status. And what he's linked to it is that he went from training twice a week to training every day.
Every single day.
And you have to remember, in those early days, they didn't have the concussion protocols that we have now. They didn't protect the players like we do now. So therefore, his age group, when they come through, I can imagine it's going to be an absolute nightmare for them. They will, as they've already said, they were like the crash test dummies. They literally, people will learn and have learnt from their experiences. But that crop of players is going to start having issues, and more and more and more and more ex-professionals are going to be coming out saying they're suffering from early onset dementia.
Do you think current players will? Because they're looked after a lot.
And that is, we're not going to know that for another 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And that's the honest truth. The honest truth is, it's a little bit like COVID, where there's a delay. We have a 2-week delay in cases. There's like a 10-year delay now.
Yeah.
We're going to see lots and lots of players coming out saying they've got early onset dementia.
From that 2000 and what, do you think 1995 to sort of 2005?
I think if you were playing from 1995 onwards,
when it became professional,
then you're in that group. But when we're most likely talking about is from about 99 on. 1995 it turned professional, but it took a while to become professional.
Yeah.
And I feel quite strongly that, concussions are a huge, huge issue. The problem is that we are dealing with such a delay that it's very difficult to judge how well we are keeping up with, dealing with this.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't an issue when you played amateur rugby because you trained twice a week and you literally did contact twice a week and then you played on a Saturday. Okay? The difference then went for those people that went professional, they trained every day and they did contact every day.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think they do that now.
No, that they really have pulled back. But it's not, in the NFL, you're not allowed to do contact.
That's right, yeah.
There's windows of contact and windows of non-contact. I hope that will come into rugby because it's left down to the coach to say, oh, lads, we're doing contact today. You're going to do a scrummage machine, for 2 hours. Whereas
but that's a bit different, I think. Scrummage machine compared to...
Steve Thompson says most of his times that he had real issues was on the scrummage machine.
Really?
He would get knocked out on the scrummage machine.
How? The pressure?
Just the pressure going through in the repetitive hits, hit in. That was his real issues. And something, he was like, he thought it, like if you
knocked out from hitting shoulder.
If you, not talking about being knocked out as in cold, but suffering from starry eyes, sort of feeling very disorientated. And we all know those.
I get starry eyes from standing up. Mate. from standing up too quick sometimes.
Yes, but what we're saying is that, these things now are said that you have suffered a brain injury, but he's doing that and continually doing that, for days and days on end.
Yeah.
And that it seems to be the issue. If we go on current guidelines, what they're actually worried about is not the first hit.
It's the repetitive.
It's the repetitive nature. And obviously back in these days, they were having repetitive hits, time
on a daily basis,
on a daily basis, on an hourly basis.
Yeah.
And I would like to think, but as I say, the problem's going to be over the next 10 years, we're going to be hearing about this case, that case, this kid, and some really well-known players will come out. And all that's going to do is it's going to make the parents and the kids scared to get into rugby.
Yeah.
And then maybe in 10 years' time, because of the things that are in place now, we won't have as many cases. But it might be too late. In 10 years,
my son will be an All Black.
If you played rugby, then yes, you might be saying, I will want my son to play rugby. But if you didn't play rugby, and what mum plays rugby? There's not that many mums that play rugby.
No.
Obviously the women's game's improving, but there's not that many mums. And we all know, happy wife, mate.
Happy life.
And they actually, the researchers said that potentially in the women's game, it's even more of an issue.
Yeah.
So, it's an absolute can of worms. And as I say, the real killer is that there's like a 10-year delay before we know whether what we're doing now is actually working. Nightmare, mate.
Interesting though.